There is an old saying, a river doesn't force itself through rocks, it finds the smoothest path. Yet how often do we find ourselves fighting against the natural currents of life? We push, resist, and struggle, only to end up frustrated and exhausted. This is a common struggle for many of us, and it's something the Stoics understood well. The Stoics taught a profound principle: do not force what is not meant to be. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." But there is wisdom in this that we often overlook. It doesn't mean we should simply bulldoze our way through obstacles. Instead, we must learn the art of persistence in the right moments and knowing when to yield, when to act, and when to accept. Imagine a man lost in a dense forest. He panics, pushes forward without direction, only to become even more tangled in the thicket. But if he stops, observes, and follows the natural openings, he eventually finds his path. Life is much the same. The more you force an outcome, the more resistance you create. The more you embrace what is, the more effortlessly things fall into place. This is the art of effort without struggle, movement without desperation. It is the difference between swimming with the current and exhausting yourself fighting against it. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic approach to living in alignment with the flow of life and how embracing this mindset can bring you lasting peace. Lesson 1. The power of letting go. Imagine gripping a rope tightly and trying to pull it your way. The harder you pull, the more resistance you feel. But when you let go, the tension disappears. Life often works the same way. We hold on tightly to things, relationships, expectations, desires, thinking that if we just try harder, we can make them work. However, as Epictetus wisely reminds us, some things are within our control and others are not. The key to peace is knowing the difference. Letting go is not about surrendering or giving up. It is about releasing attachment to outcomes we cannot control. Consider a farmer who plants seeds, waters them, and trusts nature to take care of the rest. The farmer does not demand the rain to fall or the sun to shine. Likewise, we must focus on what we can control and let go of the things beyond our influence. This shift in perspective is not about inaction, but about wisely focusing our energy on what we can change. When we try to force things, we create unnecessary struggle. We resist the natural flow of life, creating tension and frustration. The Stoics teach us that every closed door is an opportunity for something else. If we stop forcing things, we open ourselves to new possibilities. For example, a business deal that falls through may make room for a better opportunity. A relationship that ends may free us to find deeper, more meaningful connections. Letting go does not mean we stop caring or stop trying. It means we stop trying to control every outcome. When you feel resistance in your life, ask yourself, am I trying to force something? Let go of the tension. Release your grip and watch as life begins to unfold naturally, offering you new possibilities and peace. By learning to let go, we allow ourselves the freedom to accept what comes, trusting that the right things will come to us when we are ready for them. Lesson 2. Flowing with life. The Stoics taught us to align ourselves with the natural flow of life. The ocean does not fight the wind, it moves with it. Trees do not resist the storm, they bend and survive. Nature's wisdom is clear. Flexibility and adaptability are essential for survival. When we resist the natural course of things, we often bring unnecessary suffering upon ourselves. Rigidity leads to breakage, while flexibility leads to strength. The oak tree that refuses to bend under pressure will eventually snap, while the willow swaying with the wind remains intact. In our own lives, we often resist the flow. We try to control the outcomes of events that are beyond our control, and we fight against the inevitable. But the more we resist, the more we suffer. The Stoics understood that true peace comes from acceptance. Seneca wisely wrote, "Fate leads the willing but drags the unwilling." The more we fight reality, the more we suffer. But when we embrace it, we find harmony. When things do not go as planned, it is not failure but redirection. Think of a river encountering a boulder. The river does not fight against it, but instead flows around it, adapting its course over time. Life is similar. We may face obstacles, but rather than pushing against them, we can learn to adapt and find new paths. Sometimes the best way forward is not through force, but through flexibility. Flowing with life does not mean being passive or complacent. It means recognizing when to act and when to step back. It means allowing things to unfold naturally without trying to force outcomes. The most successful people in life are those who recognize when to persist and when to pivot, when to pitch forward and when to let things happen. By learning to flow with life, we free ourselves from unnecessary tension. We stop wasting energy on things we cannot control and start focusing on what we can influence. When we stop resisting and begin to flow with life, we open ourselves to new opportunities, deeper peace, and greater wisdom. Lesson 3. Nature's wisdom, the art of timing. In nature, everything follows its own timing. Winter does not rush into spring, and fruit does not ripen before its time. Nature has its own pace, and we must learn to trust this rhythm. The Stoics taught us that growth, success, and wisdom take time. The world we live in constantly pushes us to speed up and achieve things as quickly as possible. However, rushing often leads to frustration, and trying to force things can do more harm than good. Marcus Aurelius advised, never be in a hurry. Do everything quietly and in a calm spirit. In today's world, we are often pressured to move quickly, to achieve results, and to reach milestones as fast as possible. But true mastery, both in life and work, comes from understanding the right timing. Just like a tree grows at its own pace, we too must trust the timing of our own growth and allow our lives to unfold naturally. Growth is not a race, it is a journey. A tree does not demand the sun to shine brighter or the rain to fall more quickly. It grows in harmony with nature's rhythm. In the same way, we must trust the timing of our growth. Often we are so focused on immediate results that we overlook the process of development. When we trust the natural pace of life, we are able to grow in the right way at the right time. This principle applies to all areas of life. When we try to rush our career or push relationships forward too quickly, we may miss the opportunity to build a solid foundation. True success does not come from fast results. It is built over time with patience and consistent effort. The Stoics understood that wisdom, strength, and clarity all require time to develop. True success comes from allowing things to unfold in their own time. We must learn to trust the natural rhythm of life, recognizing that everything has its time and place. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is about trusting that growth takes time and that the right things will come when we are ready for them. Lesson 4. The balance of action and acceptance. Stoicism is often misunderstood as a philosophy of passivity. However, the Stoics were not passive. They were individuals of action. They fought battles, led empires, and endured hardship. The key to their success was not force, but balance. As Epictetus said, do your duty, but do not be attached to the outcome. This is the essence of Stoic action, taking deliberate, purposeful steps while being unattached to the results. Life is unpredictable. We face obstacles, setbacks, and delays that are beyond our control. In these moments, we may feel the urge to push harder and force things into place. However, the Stoics taught us that true success lies in knowing when to act and when to accept what cannot be changed. Rushing through life leads to frustration, but success comes from patience and persistence. The Stoics believed that we must take action, but we should not become consumed by the desire for specific outcomes. Imagine shooting an arrow. You aim, pull back, and release. Once the arrow leaves your bow, everything else is beyond your control. The same applies to life. We must do our best and take the right actions, but we must also accept that we cannot control everything. This acceptance allows us to find peace in the process. Knowing when to act and when to step back is crucial. Sometimes, the best course of action is to pause and allow things to unfold naturally. When we push too hard, we often make things worse. However, when we act with wisdom and patience, we find that life tends to fall into place more effortlessly. By embracing both action and acceptance, we can move through life with greater peace, less frustration, and more success. The key is understanding the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. Lesson 5. Relationships you cannot force. One of the hardest lessons to learn in life is that relationships, like seasons, change. The Stoics understood that people come and go, and not all relationships are meant to last forever. Seneca wisely wrote, "The wise man is content with himself." A Stoic does not cling to relationships that no longer serve them. Instead, they accept change, understanding that some people are meant to be in our lives for a short time, while others will remain longer. Trying to force someone to stay in a relationship, whether romantic or platonic, only leads to frustration and pain. It is like holding sand too tightly in your hand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Relationships, like everything in life, must be allowed to evolve naturally. The more we try to control or hold on to something, the more we suffer when it slips away. The Stoics remind us that change is inevitable, and we must learn to accept it. The best relationships are those that grow naturally based on mutual respect and understanding. Trying to force or control a relationship leads to unnecessary tension. Instead, we must let relationships unfold as they are meant to. If someone is meant to stay in your life, they will. If not, it is part of life's natural rhythm. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve us is not about forgetting the past. It is about accepting that people have their own paths to follow. Instead of clinging to what was, we must learn to appreciate the moments we shared, letting go with gratitude. This practice of acceptance allows us to move forward with peace. By releasing attachment to people and relationships, we make room for new connections to form. We also cultivate emotional resilience, helping us cope with the changes life brings. Relationships, like everything else, should flow naturally. When we let them evolve, we create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. Lesson 6. Ambition without anxiety. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly told to hustle, grind, and never stop. However, the Stoics taught us to pursue our goals without desperation. Marcus Aurelius did not seek power aggressively. It came to him because he was prepared for it. The Stoics understood that true strength lies not in chasing ambition relentlessly, but in aligning with our purpose and taking deliberate, thoughtful action. Ambition is important, but it must not turn into obsession. A saying goes, "He who chases two rabbits catches neither." When we try to pursue too many goals at once, we often achieve nothing significant. A calm mind accomplishes more than a frantic one. When we approach our goals with patience, clarity, and composure, we allow wisdom to guide us, instead of being driven by fear, urgency, or anxiety. Success is built over time, not in a rush. The most successful people understand the value of persistence over urgency. They trust that long-term progress is more important than immediate results. The greatest achievements in history were not the product of frantic efforts. They came from steady, consistent, and thoughtful work. Great artists, philosophers, and inventors did not rush their success. They trusted the process, embraced failure as a teacher, and refined their work over time. True ambition is about direction, not speed. To cultivate ambition without anxiety, we must balance determination with detachment. We must work hard, but not allow the outcome to define us. True ambition is about taking consistent steps toward meaningful goals, while remaining at peace with whatever results come our way. It is the process that matters most, not the outcome. When we let go of the need to force success, we allow our efforts to unfold naturally. Success becomes the result of steady dedication, not frantic pursuit. When we release the pressure to force results, we open ourselves to new opportunities. Success arrives as a natural consequence of consistent and meaningful work. Ambition should serve as a guiding light, not an overwhelming burden. It should inspire us to give our best without the anxiety of chasing results. Lesson 7. The art of adaptability. Life is full of unexpected changes, and our ability to adapt is what determines how well we navigate its challenges. The Stoics understood that rigidity leads to suffering, while flexibility allows us to thrive. A person who insists on sticking to one fixed path will eventually be broken by life's inevitable disruptions. However, someone who remains open to change will find new ways forward. Adaptability is not about abandoning our principles, but knowing when to bend and when to stand firm. A warrior does not fight every battle head-on. They know when to retreat, when to adjust their strategy, and when to strike. Similarly, in life, we must be prepared to adapt our approach when faced with setbacks. The most successful people are those who remain flexible, willing to change their plans when circumstances demand it. Those who are rigid in their ways are often the ones who struggle the most. The Stoics taught us that the key to resilience is adaptability. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means that we are in control of how we respond to life's challenges. We cannot control every aspect of our lives, but we can choose our reactions to the events around us. Even the best-laid plans can unravel in an instant, but our ability to reassess, adjust, and realign our actions is what separates those who thrive from those who become stuck in frustration. To cultivate adaptability, we must let go of the illusion of control. We cannot dictate every aspect of our lives, nor should we. Instead of rigid expectations, we can set our intentions while remaining open to new paths. When obstacles arise, we ask, what can I learn from this? By learning to adjust our approach in the face of adversity, we turn setbacks into stepping stones. Life is unpredictable, but adaptability allows us to navigate it with grace. When we embrace change, we no longer fear the unknown. We adapt, we learn, and we grow. The more we practice flexibility, the more we find peace in life's uncertainties. By accepting change and remaining open to new possibilities, we discover that we can face any challenge with confidence and resilience. Lesson 8. The strength in stillness. In a world filled with constant noise and activity, stillness is often overlooked. The Stoics understood that stillness is not passivity but a source of great power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." It is in moments of stillness that we gain clarity and wisdom. By learning to pause, reflect, and embrace stillness, we are able to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. The mind, like water, becomes clear when left undisturbed. In moments of stillness, we gain a sharper perspective. Just as muddy water clears when it is left alone, our thoughts align when we embrace quiet moments. The greatest thinkers, philosophers, and leaders have valued solitude for the clarity it brings. By stepping back from the noise, we create the space needed to understand ourselves and the world around us better. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Often our worries are born from a restless mind rather than from actual problems. Cultivating stillness helps us control our thoughts and emotions, preventing them from spiraling out of control. The fear of stillness often stems from the belief that it is inactivity. However, true stillness is not the absence of action, it is the presence of mindfulness and awareness. When we embrace stillness, we act with greater wisdom and precision. Taking the time to pause before making decisions helps us avoid mistakes that are often born from haste or impulsive reactions. Nature itself teaches us the value of stillness. The mountains stand firm as the winds rage around them, and the ocean waves move in rhythm with the tides. They do not rush, they move with purpose, allowing the natural flow to guide them. By learning to align ourselves with life's rhythms, we too can find strength in stillness. It is through this stillness that we are able to make decisions that are not driven by fear or urgency, but by clear, thoughtful reflection. When we learn to embrace the quiet moments, we are able to respond with wisdom, patience, and grace. Conclusion: embracing the flow of life. As we reflect on the wisdom shared by the Stoics, we begin to realize that life is not a battle to be won, but a journey to be experienced. It is not about forcing our way through challenges or controlling every aspect of our lives, but about aligning ourselves with the natural flow of life. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies not in the ability to control, but in our ability to adapt, to let go when necessary, and to trust that life will unfold as it should. Throughout the 8 lessons, we have seen how Stoic principles can help us find peace and fulfillment in the face of life's uncertainties. We've learned that the key to inner peace is recognizing when to act with persistence and when to accept and yield. Whether it's letting go of things we cannot control, flowing with the natural course of events, trusting in the timing of our growth, or embracing stillness to find clarity, these teachings offer profound insights into how we can live with purpose and serenity. But the journey doesn't end here. The Stoic philosophy challenges us to continuously reflect on how we can incorporate these lessons into our own lives. Where are we trying too hard to control outcomes that are beyond our reach? How can we learn to embrace change instead of resisting it? Are we giving ourselves the time and space to grow at our own pace without rushing the process? I encourage you to take a moment to think about these lessons and how they can apply to your own life. Consider where you might be holding on too tightly to something, or where you may need to adapt to life's natural rhythms. How can you find balance between persistence and acceptance? What areas of your life would benefit from letting go of control and trusting in the process? Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these lessons resonate with you and what steps you plan to take in embracing the flow of life. Life is a journey, and together we can learn to navigate it with wisdom, grace, and peace. Let's continue this conversation and inspire each other to grow and adapt in the pursuit of a life well lived.